why you should be kind, not nice, and why this ultimately matters.
Got this going.
Why results in life depend on you understanding the difference between this. Let's look at a scenario that most of you have most likely had. Have you ever made a decision in life that involves someone else, whether it's at work, whether it's your personal life, and you feel that the decision that you made or the response that you had was inauthentic? So perhaps someone did something to you and your response to them was a nice response, right? What you did was you sort of brushed it under the rug. You didn't really address the issue. And you did this thinking you were being nice, thinking that in avoiding conflict that you were doing the nice thing. But you go to review this decision down the line, whether it's that same night or a week later, and you feel that you didn't do something that was truly in your heart of hearts, and in a sense you feel disconnected from your authentic self. And this is what we need to get on track today. The difference between being kind and being nice, and why you should be kind, not nice, and how you can effectively do this in your day-to-day life. In our fast-paced world, it can be a trap to consistently aim to be nice. And the first reason why we should aim to be kind, not nice, is that there is a lack of depth in niceness. Typically, niceness comes from an insecurity deep down, and that forces you to avoid conflict. When you don't stand up for yourself or you don't set specific boundaries because of an unwillingness to put someone or a situation in its place. Your fear of getting into conflict forces you to avoid conflict. So there is a lack of depth when you're being nice versus kindness. Kindness sometimes comes with its good times and its bad times, and it's the bad times that you truly show how kind you are. So what do I mean by this? Think of your parents. Think of someone who loves you very, very much that had to put you through a difficult experience, whether it was a punishment, whether it was a tough lesson, right? They say tough love. These people that truly love you and are willing to put their foot down because they understand that on the other side of this difficult situation is a lesson that you had to learn. If you're unwilling to put someone in a difficult situation and you're unwilling to have those difficult conversations, then you are being nice, not kind, and inauthentic to who you are and what you represent in this world. The second key difference is in the motivations of being nice, not kind. Typically, someone who is overly fixated on being nice wants to maintain the status quo. They want to maintain a peaceful environment, to avoid conflict, to have everything be as it always was, and for that to continue indefinitely on to the future. Kindness is often motivated by a genuine, and I mean genuine, motivation to help someone else. And you're willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation in the immediate for the betterment and for the advantage that this person will gain over the long run. Third is authenticity. When you are nice, you are acting from an inauthentic place. Because we've all been in that scenario where we want to say something to someone or we want to put our foot down on something, but we are fearful of confronting the situation head on. Kindness is about truly empathizing the person in front of you and acting from a place that is centered and grounded, regardless of how difficult that may be or the unique and precarious circumstances that you're facing. Number 4 is your boundaries. The differences in how niceness and kindness manifests comes in the form of boundaries. Typically, someone who is nice will consistently avoid saying no, and over time it can build not only resentment but burnout. If you've ever noticed yourself over a long period of time just suddenly looking at yourself and saying, wow, how did I get to this place? It's because you've consistently been acting from a place of inauthenticity because of a need for other people's approval and a consistent need to be nice. Kindness, on the other hand, is willing to say no. It's willing to set firm boundaries, to set a line in the sand, and is willing to reprimand those that are going to go over and cross those boundaries. Sure, it may not be the best experience in the world when you have to space or set a boundary and enforce a boundary, but at least you'll walk away from regretting that you hadn't put your foot down, regretting that you hadn't acted from a truthful place and set that boundary. Last but not least is the long-term impact. When you are nice, sure, it's a mini band-aid. It avoids an uncomfortable situation today, but if anything, it adds fuel to the fire, and it only prolongs the niceness that you're going to pay down the line. Let's just say someone is doing something that you don't like. Perhaps they're consistently crossing a boundary and you're unwilling to put your foot down time and time again. At this point, you're unwilling to put your foot down. So what ends up happening with your boundaries or with your effect long term is that the person in question doesn't know that this is an expectation from you. So you don't change the status quo. You end up just building resentment over and over and over without any recourse. But when you are kind, on the other hand, you are working for the betterment of everyone involved. As an owner of a company, I deal with people on a day-to-day basis, and I've had to consistently deal with the balance of being nice versus kind. At the end of the day, I want to create a flourishing business that is profitable and that can create job opportunities for everyone that is a part of my organization. I want people to have a healthy work environment and to truly be fulfilled in what they do. I need to be willing to give the flexibilities when I have to give them, and be willing to put my foot down and to address difficult situations, to put people and scenarios in their place when the time comes, because the need to always be understood by others indicates a lack of confidence in your own decisions. It's important to always balance who you are with who you want to be, and to always be willing to self-reflect, but too much self-reflection can lead to unnecessary self-doubt, and self-doubt can lead to niceness.